began with an unknown signal. The pilots, beckoned by it, had no idea that a new conflict had awaited them, yet their involvement was not by chance. Linked by their shared experience in combat, they find themselves in the midst of a, geez, I'm clicking too fast.
Wait, I'm getting a reading. Another mobile suit?
They caught me off guard. I blacked out and woke up here.
Looks like we're in the same boat. I was investigating a strange signal. We need to ascertain the situation. We can't leave our mobile suits either.
I may have something that can help. I'll send over some data.
Is this a map of the area?
Yeah, I was scouting around earlier. These look man-made.
Better check it out then. It's the only lead we've got.
There's just one problem.
One problem? What's that?
There's a battle raging around there, and we have no idea who's doing the fighting.
And now you've been introduced to the story mode. Well, we're about to jump into the second tutorial mission, so we'll talk more about it there. We're going to be handed control of Amuro Ray, the original Gundam pilot from the 79 series, but he's going to be piloting his suit New Gundam from the 1980s movie Char's Counterattack, which, honestly, I prefer the original suit just because I'm more familiar with that one, and I don't exactly know all the tricks of this suit. The New Gundam suit can do some really neat things, but you have to know the right button presses and that kind of thing. So if you notice the map here, there's several blank fields that we need to go and see if we can seize control of before the enemy gets there, because that way we'll get control of them automatically. And you can see that there's a partner. One of our pals, I think it's a soldier, has just activated the partner field, so we don't need to go there. Blue dots represent our allies. The green arrow on the map, of course, is us. And the red dots are enemy aces. So right now, here in the tutorial phase, we're just trying to wipe out the enemy. There aren't really any big extra objectives at this point. I don't remember if the game gives us extra missions, but you can see here a soldier, an enemy ace, has walked into our area, and my rule of thumb on enemy aces, and it didn't happen right away, so I don't know if this fight represents it necessarily that much, is if you see an enemy ace, you need to take him out when you find him. The only exception is if they're traveling in threes. There's New Gundam Special Attack, which is pretty cool. We also have a partner attack available, which I think brings in the Gundam F91 pilot Ko, or Ku, I don't know his name. I'm not familiar with his series. But you can see I prefer the melee beam saber combats. I don't find it firing the rifle. I mean, New Gundam's got a better rifle than some, but I don't find it to be particularly effective. Here's another soldier, so we need to get rid of him. And you see he kind of put ourselves in a disadvantageous spot there, so I'm going to try to reset the battle by taking out some of the goons.
I'll never know unless I give it a
I don't have much history with Amuro Ray. I'm aware of who he is, which is better than a lot of the pilots on the roster. But what little I've seen of Mobile Suit Gundam is actually from the original show when they brought it over and dubbed it into English in the early to mid 2000s. So the only thing I can really tell you is that they brought the voice actor, I I think of Catra Rabarbo Winner from Gundam Wing to be the voice for Amuro Ray. So in that sense, his voice is kind of nostalgic for me. Now we've gotten beat up enough that we've overheated, and that causes you to pause. Now at higher difficulties, we're not at a very high difficulty at the moment. At higher difficulties, that will most likely kill you if you end up getting knocked out by particularly another ace on the field. Here it didn't kill us because we were fighting these generic soldier guys who don't have particularly good stats on their own, and only slightly better soldiers than the other guys that we're fighting. Now, New Gundam has some interesting combo moves, but again, I'm just not very comfortable doing the combos. I like to stick to the basics, with the beam saber, and then occasionally launching the special move, which gets the most use out of his these missile firing things. They have names. They might even describe what they are at some point in the story mode. But again, this is part of the Gundam series I'm not particularly familiar with, but I can respect the amount of power that this suit has. This is the suit that we presume Amuro met his end with in the movie Char's Counterattack.
What group is that? I guess not. Must be another unidentified.
So in some ways it's kind of a neat thing to have this suit here, because it was only used in, again, one movie, so about 90 minutes. But you can use it the way the character selection works. For this early part of the story and the good guy part of the story, which we'll see the story branch out here in a second. Once we eliminate all the enemies here and take this field. Now with the bar above, the blue and red bars, you can see those. With the red bar below half, the enemy defenses in the enemy headquarters should be reduced, which means that they should no longer be firing the defense missiles and lasers that they sometimes have. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and attack the enemy base at this point. Instead, since I'm just learning this game, I've decided to go around and attack more fields and get used to what that's like. But now we have no choice really but to attack the enemy base. If you drag the enemy bar low enough by blowing up enemy ace pilots and taking strategic points, not every point is strategic, so you need to be aware of that. You can actually draw out the enemy commander without actually taking over the enemy base first. However, if you want to, you can go ahead and take the enemy base out. If you take out the enemy base, it will prevent the enemy from being able to respawn reinforcements. And so here's our boss for this particular level. And you can see we're now locked in a quick time event. Again, these are the little duels. If you hit one button wrong, it'll go bad for you. And this is the souped up power move for New Gundam. A little unwieldy. You'll see that we actually did practically no damage to the one guy we wanted to hit. Another advantage about fighting in these enemy headquarters, if you drag down the enemy morale bar to 0 and then drag out the enemy general, who we just destroyed here, then the enemy headquarters will not revert control. If you capture the enemy headquarters and then the boss comes out, control will actually revert to the enemy. And you'll have to take it all over again, and although you probably will be focusing more on taking out the boss at that point, it won't make a difference. But it means that it won't be friendly and your troops won't be there to help you out if you do it that way. So here we go. We've gained our first experience. We shot down 517. We've got shot down 2 aces. That gave us 2,229 pilot points, which we can then use to up our level. And you can see that our base stats are raised as well. It looks like Amuro has slightly better shot and slightly better melee and slightly worse defense. Different pilots will have different stat attributions. And then after the battle, you can claim suit plans for suits that you've vanquished during the fight. And you can see that suits have different upgrade slots, and you want to have the suits that have the most upgrade slots. Now, at first, it's not bad to just have all the suits, any suit you get, but as you go on and suits rank up, you'll want to, keep the suits that have high upgrade ratings and high ranks, and just sell the rest of them to build up your money supply to do other things. And we'll talk about those in a second here. Alright, so now you're starting to get a measure of the story. Everybody's sort of thrown in together.
I just found her in this building.
Because Amuro, Ko, and Setsuna are all from different series, although Amuro and Ko are from the same timeline. And Tifa Adil, the person on the right, is from a different series entirely. I'm not sure offhand what it's called exactly, but I think she's a friend of Garad Ran, so if you're familiar with that Gundam series. But now we've got some more options, and next time we will look at a